no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. If you're looking for news and rumors, you're in the right place. If you're also looking for some awesome tasting cereal, you are in the right place. Shout out to Magic Spoon for hooking us up with an awesome deal. Head on over to magicspoon.com/Raiders where you guys can save $5 off the best tasting, most healthy cereal on the market. If you find a healthy cereal, I might even go ahead and shave my head. Doesn't exist. Let's go to the first rumor coming up here on today's show. Are the Las Vegas Raiders going to go out and sign free agent linebacker Mark Barron? I'm actually going to go ahead and give this one two Chucky heads. I'm going to say people are talking. The reason why people are at least talking about this is because he's visiting Las Vegas, or at least he's supposed to visit Las Vegas for a workout. And as it stands right now, there's not too much more of an update on this. But we know that the Raiders are in need of linebacking depth, especially after just releasing Darron Lee. Is Nick Kwiatkowski supposed to come back? Yes, he is. But however, when you talk about what the Raiders could potentially be looking for, I could see them actually trying to add a veteran linebacking presence. Now, I also gave my 2 cents on this yesterday, where if you're going to go out and call Barron, why the hell not call KJ Wright, right? But he missed all of 2020 season with a hamstring and pectoral injury. But before that, was at least halfway decent at being able to rack up some tackles. So in 2019 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he had 82 tackles. 4 tackles for loss, an interception. 2018, 60 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, no picks. 2017, 2016, you guys can see the numbers here. But I always say this to people, don't just look at tackles, because sometimes for defensive players, tackles can really get you twisted on how good they actually were. So if you guys care about PFF and their grades, it actually tells a much different story. So in 2019, Barron, 57.5 overall grade. 2018, 44.6. 2017, 2016, both over 60, but not the best grades what you're looking for if you are considering going out and signing a linebacker. So be honest with me here. Should the Raiders sign a LB? Type Y for yes or type N for no. If you're trying to get rid of some of those extra LBs, remember you can go to Magic Spoon. They're giving you guys an awesome deal on today's show. Y for yes, N for no. Should the Raiders sign a linebacker? I'll go ahead and say yes if Nicholas Morrow and Javen White are out a long time. If only one of those players, and when I say one, I mean Javen's out a while, then I might go ahead and change my tune here. But it does sound like Nicholas Morrow might not be ready for week 1, and he might even be out a little bit longer. I know I said this yesterday on the Raiders Report as well, where if Morrow or Javen White get put on the IR before your final day of cuts, which is August 31st, that means they're done for the season. So obviously, fingers crossed that that doesn't happen. But if the Raiders go out and they sign a linebacker, if one of those guys gets put on season-ending IR, I'm going to keep you updated here, and I promise you I'll do that. If you don't believe me, there's only one way you can find out, by going ahead and subscribing to the Raiders Report, the #1 most watched Raiders show on YouTube. It's because we're so determined to give you guys as many videos as we humanly can that we take a lot of pride in. And I like to think I'm a halfway decent guy. At least that's what my mom tells me. So if you haven't already, turn on your notifications. And Sam went, when I said halfway decent guy. So F you, Sam. Go to Settings app, scroll down, tap YouTube, tap notifications, and then turn on allow notifications. That would be a great way to make sure that you guys never miss a video here on the Raiders Report. So if I'm going to ask you, should the Raiders go out and sign a linebacker? Some of you are going to go ahead and say yes. Well, what I decided to do here is give you the top 8 free agent linebackers not named Mark Barron. So #1, and it's not even close, it's KJ Wright. We all knew that, right? Then I'd say Avery Williamson deserves to be up there. BJ Goodson is a name to keep in mind. Leon Jacobs is probably deserving to be up there. And then here are the last 4 players, and you guys know the last 2, right? I mean, James Burgess, Deion Buchanan, but Tahir Whitehead, and then Will Compton. I will say, though, Tahir Whitehead, as I am filming this show right now, he is visiting with the Houston Texans, so something to keep in mind. And actually, he's not the only one. Also, Rasul Douglas is actually also visiting the Houston Texans, so definitely something to kind of be funny about. But if you don't like any of those linebacking options, if you're like, you know what, Mitch, man, I don't want to sign any of those linebackers. I don't want any of those guys. Could we potentially go out and trade for a linebacker? I would say if you're not interested in KJ Wright, you might be a little crazy. But the only other linebacker that I'm going to sit here and is like, probably actually worth a damn to go out and trade for, it would be Jordan Hicks, linebacker of the Arizona Cardinals. So he's coming off a 118 tackle season, 12 tackles for loss. He's not the best coverage linebacker. It's one of the reasons why Arizona has actually the past 2 years basically drafted him and Chandler Jones' replacement, but he does still offer you some leadership. He's also a good player, and since Arizona is already kind of kicking him to the curb, I actually believe that you can get him for a halfway decently cheap price. So Jordan Hicks is definitely somebody to keep in mind. But, again, KJ Wright is not only better than Hicks, he's free right now in terms of draft capital. So if you're like really sitting here like, man, I want a linebacker, the answer is KJ Wright. So every single person watching the show right now, whether it's live, whether it's today or tonight, whether it's I don't even care, 4 days from now, go down in the comments and type KJ because I want KJ Wright in silver and black. Now, today's show sponsor is Magic Spoon, but I want you guys to help settle a debate here for me. Out of the 4 flavors that you see on screen, what's the best Magic Spoon flavor? And if you've never had Magic Spoon, then imagine the best tasting cereal you had as a kid. It's literally the exact same thing. So, fruity, type F. Have you ever had Fruit Loops? Probably. Frosted. Have you ever had Frosted Flakes? Type FR. What about cocoa? If you've never had it, it reminds me of Cocoa Puffs. Type C. Peanut butter. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Go ahead and type P. Which out of the 4 flavors that you guys see on screen right now would be your favorite? If you're having a hard time deciding which one of those flavors would be your favorite, luckily for you, if you go to magicspoon.com/Raiders, you can save $5 off and get a variety 4-pack. I highly, highly recommend it. Not only are you going to be able to get 4 awesome and healthy cereal, if you're smart, you can mix and match and bang, you got like 5 boxes, you got like 6 boxes. We're just absolutely taking care of you here. 13 grams of protein, 4 grams of net carbs, 0 grams of sugar. I tell you this all the time, guys. You will absolutely love this cereal, and if for whatever reason you don't like it, I think you're crazy, but you can actually send it back and get your money back guarantee. If you're on a keto diet, it's also keto friendly, no GMOs whatsoever. This is very healthy cereal, and it tastes good. Please go check it out, magicspoon.com/Raiders. All right, let's go to the next story here. It's around trading for C.J. Henderson, the Jacksonville Jaguars cornerback, and I'm going to go ahead and give this one 4. I'm kidding. 0 Chucky heads, tuck rule. Tuck that. And one of my jobs here is not only be able to keep you guys up to date on actual news, and when I say actual news, I mean like Raiders roster cuts, which is about to happen here, or about to come up, but also being able to find top trending stories or top trending articles. Because what happens when I see an article from Bleacher Report that says one trade that every NFL team should make before the 2021 season starts, basically what happens is my DMs get flooded with questions like, should the Raiders do this? So I'm like, all right, if that many people care about it, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. Now, apparently Henderson, he wants out, or at least he's on the trade market. But in this trade scenario, the Raiders would have to give up Clelin Ferrell. Now, before I show you their trade idea, and then before I show you my trade idea, here's what Bleacher Report had to say on why they decided to do this trade. For the Las Vegas Raiders, 2019 4th-round pick Max Crosby has outperformed Clelin Ferrell. Crosby, big money free agent acquisition Yannick Ngakoue, and solid complimentary rusher Carl Nassib could form a solid trio on the edge for a Vegas team that just might not need Ferrell at this point. Why not see if somebody else might believe they can get more out of him? Ngakoue's former team, the Jaguars, could bite if they see Ferrell as a potential long-term partner for Josh Allen and K'Lavon Chaisson in the front 7. Meanwhile, a Raiders secondary that has been problematic for years could use a talent like Henderson, who might be on the trading block. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, the 2020 number 9 overall pick would immediately become a top option alongside youngsters Damon Arnett, Trayvon Mullen, and in the defensive backfield. So here's the trade idea that Bleacher Report decided to throw out. And anytime I see a trade like this, I'm like, not only am I going to give my opinion on it, but I'm going to ask Raider Nation to give their opinion on it. So the Las Vegas Raiders, they get number 9 overall pick in the 2020 draft, C.J. Henderson. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they go ahead and get Clelin Ferrell, the number 4 overall pick in the 2019 draft. So who wins this trade? If you think it's the Las Vegas Raiders, I want you to go ahead and type LV. If you believe it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, I want you to go ahead and type JAC. Believe it or not, I actually think that the Raiders do win that trade. And I simply say that because I do have C.J. Henderson rated as a higher overall prospect than what I had at Clelin Ferrell. Plus, I still think that Henderson has an extra few years to be able to get ready into the NFL, where he was battling some injuries last year. And the last reason, he's actually a lot more cheaper than Clelin Ferrell. So, something to think about. But I don't want to give up Cle. Cle is a player that I actually think gets disrespected way too often, especially from places like Bleacher Report. I mean, is he ever probably going to have a 10-sack season? No. Will he ever live up to the number 4 overall pick? No, he probably won't. But you know what? He was the 16th best player according to Pro Football Focus last year. He's a good run defender, and if he's the 3rd best defensive end on our team, sure, that kind of sucks for when you draft somebody number 4 overall, but that also speaks more about the Raiders getting a diamond in the rough in Crosby, going out and signing a good player like Gakwe. So, what I decided to do here is come up with this trade idea. C.J. Henderson to the Raiders for a 3rd-round pick. For anybody out there that's like, oh, there's no way that's going to happen, I'll tell you why it could potentially happen. So who wins this trade here? Would you guys go ahead and do this? You get to keep Clelin Ferrell, but you do have to give up your 3rd-round pick. And again, Henderson was drafted in the 1st round of the 2020 draft. So I saw a lot of people saying, oh, it's going to cost more to go out and get C.J. Henderson. I'm sorry. I simply disagree. And this could also be an option where, sometimes the Raiders haven't done the best job picking guys, but you're getting a solid talent here, long, lanky guy that I think would fit great with Gus Bradley. But one of the biggest reasons why I think 3rd-round pick would be more than good enough for Jacksonville, he is listed right now as the 3rd cornerback on that depth chart. They have former Eagle Sidney Jones, who they signed last year. He's over him. They went out and signed Tyson Campbell from Georgia. Drafted Tyson Campbell this past year out of Georgia. He's above him. And then they also have Shaquille Griffin, who they signed in this past free agency. They have a lot of other corners. He's not happy there, and he's already on the trade block. I'm telling you, you could get him for a 3rd-round pick. So keep Cle, give up a 3rd-rounder, go get C.J. Henderson. So here's the 2020 stats in 8 games, right? 36 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 6 pass breakups, 1 interception. Now, those are okay numbers, right? But I actually think a lot of times when you talk about cornerback, the more important numbers are the coverage stats. So shout out to our team for being able to get these in 8 games. Completion percentage, 64.7%. So that means when targeted, he was giving up a completion 64.7% of the time. He gave up 448 yards, 4 touchdowns. Yes, that's not great. 1 interception and 6 pass breakups. Well, I think one of the biggest things hindering C.J. Henderson's biggest problem this past year was Jacksonville just did not have a lot of talent around him. And I'm not saying that the Raiders have a lot more talent on defense, because we have to realize it. They don't have all that too much more talent in terms of the secondary. But Henderson himself does have a lot of talent, and he's a player that I like a lot. Now, if you guys like me, if you want to get to know me a little bit more, you can always hit me up on IG. I'm at MitchellRenz365. Now, if you remember, I said that last week I'm going to do a challenge, and I want people to post their best Raiders costumes on Instagram and then tag me at MitchellRenz365. So what I did is I found 3 winners of people that ended up following my instructions and posting on their Instagram and tag me. So shout out to Yoshi for his first Raiders picture. Then we got Chick777_. She sent me hers, which is great. And then actually I thought this was kind of the coolest one. It's probably the winner, which was this looks like a Jack in the Box. Raider Jack Superfan. So shout out to those 3 winners here. So if you want to get featured on the Raiders Report next week, I got a new challenge for you. So what I want you to do is send me your best tailgate picture and tag me on IG at MitchellRenz365. Bonus points if you have a tailgate picture of you at a Raiders and 49ers game. So if you want to get featured on the Raiders Report, post a picture on your Instagram, tag me. That way I know who to pick, and that way I can put you on the show. The last thing we're talking about here is that the Raiders get down to an 80-man roster. 4 Chucky heads, believe it, baby. Before I started the live show, I broke this all down. If you didn't watch the live show, the players that the Raiders decided to move on from have been Rasul Douglas, Parker Ehringer, and then Corliss Waitman. Those were the cuts that were made on 8/23. And then they also went out and signed Devery Hamilton, which means they had to cut 3 more players. So the 3 cuts that they ended up making: first, Marcell Ateman, wide receiver, after a pretty solid game. Darius Still, the UDFA defensive tackle from West Virginia. And then to round out, now the Raiders are at an 80-man roster, Darron Lee, linebacker, who was signed in free agency. Now, I want you guys to remember that more roster cuts are going to happen next week. You got to get down to a 53-man roster by October. Where the hell am I? By August 31st. So those are all the cuts that are made, and to make sure that you guys get all those cuts and to make sure that you guys never miss a thing, again, go ahead and subscribe to the Raiders Report. We got 913 people watching this bad boy live right now, and I don't want you to miss any of our shows going forward. We're going to be having a lot of fun the entire season, so please go ahead and subscribe to the Raiders Report. It's at youtube.com/Raiders Report. Send it to a friend, send it to a random person, send it to your mom. Have her email her entire friend list. youtube.com/Raiders Report.